Alright, so this is how your lockdown system is going to be functioning after we're done with the episode. You can lock a channel here for a certain time period if you want to, and give it also a reason. And let's say if you lock it for 5 seconds, alright, and in the middle of nowhere the bot gets offline, just like this, then your channel will be stuck. But don't worry, whenever your bot gets started back up, alright, /node space dot, the send messages should be now the channel permissions should be reverted. So even if your bot crashes or you're continuing on developing your bot, the expiration date for the lock is going to be saved in the database, and it's going to be removed later on when the bot gets online. Pretty simple. This command will work in multi-guides, so we can have it as a global command. And so yeah, so let's go ahead and start out with the episode. Alright, so let's start out with creating the schema. So let's go to our system, or sorry, structures, schemas, and here we're gonna let's delete this old file, and let's create a new database, a schema. Let's call it lockdown, for example. And here we're gonna require model and schema from the Mongoose package, because that's all we need from the Mongoose package, just like this. And then we're gonna model export the model, and we're gonna set its name to be lockdown. You can name it whatever you want, and then we're gonna create a new instance of a schema, and the guide ID is gonna be string, the channel ID is gonna be string, and the time is also gonna be string. These are the three stuff that we're gonna be needing to save inside of our database. Alright. So let's go ahead to our commands. Let's go into moderation and create a new file. Let's call it, for example, lock.js. And here we're gonna require command interaction, and we're also gonna be requiring message embed. And we're also requiring the database, so const dp equals require wherever you created that schema that we just created a second ago, schemas lockdown. Pretty simple. And we're also gonna require ms, which is a package that will transform input into milliseconds. If you don't have that package installed, go to your terminal, type npm ims, and it should download it for you. Now we're gonna model.export, and the name of the command is gonna be log, for example. Description is gonna say lock down this channel, and the permission is gonna be manage channels, so only those with the manage channels will be able to lock the channel. And for the options, we're gonna have two options. So the first option is gonna be time, description is gonna be expire date for this lockdown, and here we're gonna specify 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, for example. And the type of it is gonna be string, and it's not gonna be required. So for the other option, it's gonna be reason. Description is gonna say provide a reason for this lockdown, and it's also gonna be a type of string, but it's not gonna be required. Don't forget your comma so you don't get these errors. Alright, so now we're gonna async, and we're gonna execute interaction. Sorry, just like this, and then we're gonna grab our parameters, so command interaction, so we can get auto-completed properties. Let's go down a couple of more lines, and then here we're gonna require a couple of properties from the interaction. We're gonna require the guide, we're gonna require the channel, and the options. Pretty simple so far. And now we're gonna be basically defining the reason. So const reason equals options.get string reason, but because it's not required, then we're gonna set a default, because we're gonna be using this variable anyway. So we're gonna set its default to be no specified reason. For example, you can customize as much as you want. And then we're gonna create our embed. which is a template embed. So message embed, and that's it. Now here we're gonna check. So if exclamation mark channel, channel, lowercase channel dot permissions for guide ID. The guide ID is basically the exact same ID of the at everyone role. Shout out to this comment. And then we're gonna check if the array has send messages. So if it doesn't have it, then that means the channel is already locked. So we're gonna return an interaction reply with an embed. Here we're gonna modify the embed color and set it to be red. And we're gonna red. And we're gonna set the description of it to say this channel is already locked, for example. And we're gonna make the reply ephemeral. Over here, ephemeral. So only the command user will be able to see this message. Right. So if it doesn't have, or if it does have it, then the channel is not locked. So we're gonna be locking it now. So we're gonna type channel dot permissions overrides dot edits guide dot id, and we're gonna disable send messages. We're gonna make it false. Pretty simple so far. And now here we're gonna get the time. So const time equals options dot get time. Get string, not time. And we're gonna get it from the time option. And here we're gonna check if time, like I said previously, because it's not required. So we're gonna check if this variable returns something. Then we're gonna execute whatever inside of this code block. So if there is time, then we're gonna define the unlock timestamp. So what that means, because we're gonna be saving it to our database, we need to get the actual expiration date. So const expire date, for example, is equal to date.now, which is going to be returning a timestamp, basically milliseconds, plus ms time, plus the actual time that we provided. So this is when the expire date is gonna be. And now we're gonna dp.create. We're gonna create one with a guide ID as this guide ID, channel ID as this channel ID, and the time is gonna be the expire date. Pretty simple. Now we're gonna go down a couple more lines, and here we're gonna set a timeout, and we're gonna async, so we can use a wait in it. And then here we're gonna let's copy this over here and change from false and set it to null. And then we're gonna go down, and here we're gonna type interaction dot edit reply edit reply. I don't know why I suck at typing today. Either way, embeds. And you're asking why we're editing reply but we haven't replied. I will reply in a second. Give me a second. All right, so edit reply, and in here we're gonna type, provide the embed template inside of the array, set description, and here we're gonna set it to be the lockdown has been lifted. All right, and let's change the color and set it to be green instead of red. All right, and this is basically it. And then we're gonna catch if an error happens while we're trying to edit the reply, and we're gonna void the error. Okay, and then under here we're gonna await dp dot delete one with the channel ID that's equals to this channel ID. All right, and then here we're gonna ms time. Pretty simple. So this code will only get executed if this time variable returns something. Okay, and when it does, it's gonna create a document inside of the database that has the expiration date, and in here it's gonna set a timeout. So whenever this time has passed, the expiration time, this is gonna execute whatever inside of this code, which basically is gonna unlock the channel, edit the initial reply, and delete the document from the database. And now here, let's go up here, for example, and type interaction dot reply. Let's reply with an embed, we're gonna set the color, for example, to red. Set description to be this channel is now under lockdown 4, and here we can provide the reason, and we need to change this quote to backticks just like this, and this command should be working fine right now. Let's go ahead and create our unlock command before we test this. So let's go create a new file and we'll call it unlock.js. And here we're gonna require basically the same database, and let's remove the channel, we don't need that. Database and channel in here, okay. We're gonna model.export. The name of the command is gonna be unlock. Description is gonna be lift a lockdown from a channel. Permission is gonna be manage channels. Alright. And we're not gonna be using options, so we're gonna async interaction. And we're gonna require our parameters for the interaction. Okay, so in here we're gonna require const guide channel and options interaction, and we're gonna create also our embed. So const embed equals to a new message embed, which is our template embed. Alright, and here we're gonna check if channel dot permissions for guide dot id dot has send messages. We're gonna return message, we're gonna return interaction reply embed set color red, and we're gonna set the description to be let's see here, this channel is not locked, and then we're gonna make it ephemeral. So we're gonna go inside of the channel permissions array, and we're gonna check if the gal-id or the everyone role has send messages, then the channel is not even locked. So that's what we are responding with. But if it passes this test, then the channel is locked, and here we're gonna unlock it. So channel dot permissions overrides dot edit. Alright, so we're gonna edit the guide id, and send messages is gonna be set to null, and then we're gonna await dp.delete1. We're gonna delete 1 with the channel id, which is equal to this channel id. Let's remove this column, and then here we're gonna reply. So we're gonna interaction dot reply and then embed, saying that the lockdown has been lifted. Okay, set description, and here we're gonna say lockdown has been lifted. Okay, now we have our lock and unlock commands created. So I'm gonna scroll down a little slow so you can pause wherever you're stuck at. Okay, let's remove this message from over here, and now it's time. Actually, we don't need options in here, so let's remove that too. So yeah, now it's time to create the actual system. So for that, we need to go to our systems folder, and we're gonna create a new file, and we're gonna call it for example lockdownsys.js, and then here we're gonna require the database. Const dp equals require dot slash structures slash schemas slash lockdown. Okay, and then we're gonna require the client from the Lyxcode.js, and we're also gonna be grabbing our parameter for the client just like this. We can get automated or auto completed client. Okay, now here we're gonna model.export client, and this actually async the client because we're gonna be using await. Alright, so in here we're gonna dp.find, so we're gonna get every document inside of the database. So find, we're not gonna pass in a filter because we want every document, and then whenever we find, we're gonna async. Alright, and this is gonna return an array. So array or documents array, for example, and then here we're gonna create an arrow, and we're gonna type document array dot for each document, which is, let's assign it to be D. Then we're basically gonna execute this type of code. So we're gonna type const channel. We're gonna grab the channel object. So const channel equals client dot guides dot cache dot get. We're gonna get the guide from the document, or d dot guide id, and then channels dot cache dot get. We're gonna get the d dot channel id. It's pretty simple so far. And here we're gonna check. So if exclamation mark channel, so if a channel doesn't exist, then we're gonna return. And we're gonna define the date now. So const time now equals date now. This is gonna return milliseconds or a timestamp. And here we're gonna check if the dot time is lower than the time right now. So if the expiration date has already passed, then we're gonna return channel dot permissions overrides dot edit d dot guide id. All right, and here send messages is gonna be null. Pretty simple. But if it's not, then the code is gonna continue. And in here we're gonna define the expiration date. So const expired date is equal to d dot time minus date dot now. All right, and then we're gonna set a timeout, say async. Okay, and here we're gonna channel, or let's copy this. Okay, channel, post it here, and then here we're gonna await dp.delete 1 with the channel id that's equal to this channel id, or this channel id. It's pretty right. And then here we're gonna provide the expired date. And now to be able to run this file, you will need to go to your events. Where is it? Events client ready, and then here you need to require it. So let's type require. Let's put the location of the file, which is in systems logdown, and here we're gonna pass in the client. And this is basically, it's important because we're trying to access the guide, the cache, and we don't have that if the bot isn't ready. All right, so we should be done right now. So let's try out our system. So let's node space dot, and now if let's check the channel permissions, so it's not locked. Now if you type /log, let's say the time is gonna be, for example, 10 seconds. The channel should be logged for 10 seconds, and after the 10 seconds has passed, this message should be edited, and it will say that the channel lockdown has been lifted, as you see here, and it should have created a document in the database, and after it expired has deleted it. So if we refresh, we won't find anything in here, which is good. All right, so now let's try to /log, and let's log it for 5 seconds again. All right, the channel is under lockdown, but now let's turn off the bot real quick. All right, we have it in time, and like you see here, so basically we have saved the date and everything, and even though the 5 minutes has passed, all right, now if we restart our bot again, okay, let's actually go into silent permissions in here so I can show it's actually working. Let's node space dot, and the send messages should now automatically be reverted to null, like you see, and the database should be deleted, or the documents, but it's not deleting. So let's go fix that issue real quick. So let's go to our lockdown system, delete one channel id y is not deleting it. Type deletes many, for example. All right. Oh, actually in here, yeah, so this is right. Okay, leave it be. Okay, let's copy this, okay, and place this under a code block, and then in here we're gonna dp, so we're gonna await Let's actually do, how can we do this? Return, right? Let's move this thing, and it should work like this. I don't know, I've never typed return and await in the same line. So let's try it again. So everything, you can pause the video in here and copy this. All right, so now let's remove this. Okay, channel is good. Now if we type, if the bot restarted, no, let's start the bot. Okay, so we have an issue await async functions. Okay, wait, we should async this. Okay, now this is async, so this is fixed. Now let's restart the bot again. All right, now if we type /log for 5 seconds again, 5s, and we should stop the bot. All right, so by now the 5 seconds would have been already expired. Now let's go to the database here. We have it here. Okay, now let's restart the bot. Okay, and now this should be deleted, and it is. So the system is completely working fine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one.